afternoon folks, another little episode here of Whitebeard's Kitchen. What I'm going to do is a dish called a Chicken Chasni. I've never heard of this before until I recently watched a guy called Alex Kitchen who cooked this, so I'm going to try and replicate as much as possible his recipe. But the recipe itself originates in Scotland, and I think it was a guy called Alex Wilkie or something along those lines, and it was his idea. There's a few wee ingredients in it certainly that I haven't heard of in a curry, well at least one, that's for sure, so that's a bit of a surprise to me. It is red colour, and for the very first time I will be using a little dash of red food colouring to do this recipe. Okay guys, so what I have in here is roughly about 4 to 5 tablespoonfuls of just vegetable oil. You could use ghee if you have it. I still have to get my hands on it. So what I'm going to add in first, and I blended this down into like a puree, is about 400 grams of just onion, good old onion. So it's going to go in there, try and get out as much as possible. And what I did do to kind of quicken up the process, and this is a little trick that I found out from one of the chefs that I would watch on YouTube, who does lovely curries, and he suggested putting this into the microwave for about 3 minutes, because what you don't want to do, it kind of starts the cooking process, and you don't want to obviously overcook the onion. So I have this roughly at about a medium heat, and this is probably going to take about 10 minutes. You want it to brown, so you don't want a raw taste in your curry, and probably this process will maybe take roughly about 10 minutes. It's not something you want to leave for terribly long. You don't want the onions to burn, otherwise what you're going to get is a horrible bitter taste as well. So we'll be back in 10 minutes just to have a look, make sure that the onions are browned. Okay folks, so the onion is almost ready. I cranked it up a little bit to about medium, and the odd time I've added just a wee splash of water. So I'm going to now, I think that this is going to be brown enough for me, do a little bit more, and just might do. What I'm going to do, just to get those little bits off the bottom so they don't burn, is just I've added a tiny splash of water, and I added a few splashes in while I was watching this meticulously. Going to put it up to medium to low heat. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my dried spices. It's 2 tablespoonfuls of mild Madras curry powder, 2 teaspoons of Kashmiri Chilli Powder, a half teaspoon of garam masala, a half teaspoon of turmeric powder, and just a wee half teaspoon of salt. As I say, you could use a mixed powder. I haven't got mixed powder, so that's why I'm using 2 tablespoons of the mild Madras powder. So I'm going to get those in, give those just a wee bit of a whirl. I'm just going to add a tiny splash of water. There will be 500 mils of water going later, but do add small splashes of water so your spices and that don't burn. And this is really only to, I suppose, liven up the spices. So I'm going to add another tiny small splash of water. Yeah, and you can smell those spices already. Wonderful aroma of that. As I say, it's only to liven up the spices a wee bit. I don't want anything burning. You know, I can't tell you the exact amount of splashes of water. You just need to kind of reckon this for yourself. And hopefully you can see. And always remember, scrape around the edges too, because wee bits that maybe stick there, you want to get them off as soon as possible. So now what I have going in, I have 3 tablespoonfuls of garlic ginger paste, and this is just you know, fresh garlic and ginger. I've kind of pounded it down in the pestle and mortar. Give that a bit of a stir. Going to add another wee tiny splash of water. Even I have to be honest, my stove top, it is quite powerful, even when it is sitting at low. You don't want to be walking away from this either, that's for sure. Turn the pot round. Right, so just want to cook out a wee bit of the rawness of the garlic and ginger, just for a minute or so. And of course, a little bit of refreshment. So typical Saturday afternoon in Whitebeard's Kitchen. So one was having a small drink. So it's as you can see, it's not beer, even though it's in the Guinness glass. What that is vodka, small dash of lemon, and tonic. And what I'm going to put in now is tomato puree, tomato paste, whatever you wish to call it, depending on the word where you are. So 3 tablespoons of it. That's that in. Give that a good mix around and among the spices, the garlic and the ginger. Again, just to take a little bit off the rawness. I am just going to add a few splashes of water. Okay, leave this sitting at kind of a medium now. Or sorry, I should say medium low, not medium. So it's probably, to be honest, near the low side. Give that a good mix. Get all the rawness off the puree out of the way. And as you can see, lovely red colour there. That's from the Kashmiri Chilli Powder and the tomato paste, tomato puree. So what I have is 950 grams of this is chicken breast, and yes, I hear you ask, he's using chicken breast, but for this dish I will. So I just want to get all the chicken now coated, and I'm just going to crank it up a wee bit to medium heat. Okay, that's the chicken basically covered. So now what I'm going to do is, this is warm water. I'm going to crank it up a wee bit to medium high. Just get it bubbling a bit. Turn it up actually to high. And to see it starting to bubble up, I'll turn it down to medium. I'll put the lid on. Leave it probably for about 10-12 minutes, but I'll come back in between times just to give it a stir and make sure there's nothing sticking to the bottom. Scrape around those edges, as I say. You don't want any flavour going astray with this. And if I need to add more salt or anything like that, I'll do that. Okay, so that's my curry beginning to bubble. So I'm going to put this up to medium. Get the lid on. There we are. So it's on a medium heat. Leave this for 10 minutes. And I'll be back. Here we are. This has been roughly about 10 to 12 minutes. It has thickened up a wee bit. So, smell is wonderful. I'm just going to add in 2 teaspoons of sugar. Get that in. That's sugar in. Yes, it's in my Black Sabbath coffee mug, which is 10 years old this year. Hard to believe when I seen Black Sabbath in 2013. Slight digression from cooking, however. I'm going to add in 3 tablespoons of mango chutney. That's going in as well. And for something that probably I never use that often, is 3 tablespoons of the good old tomato ketchup. Whatever brand you have, use it. So that goes in. And now just for one slightly other ingredient, mint sauce. Yep, you heard me. But this could go into, if you're doing like a chicken tikka. I've used that before in a curry. 2 tablespoons of mint sauce. Going to give this a good stir. As I say, have it here on a medium heat. And just what I'm going to do is I have lemon. So I'm just going to give, you can use the bottled lemon, just a squirt of lemon. Squirt, you hear that word again. So I would say probably about a tablespoon of lemon, tablespoon and a half. I'm just going to taste this ever so slightly. Just want to see maybe if I need some salt in it, and I may as well put it in at this stage. I'm just going to add in about half a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to turn this now to medium, kind of to and medium low, say 5 to 8 minutes. Again, I just keep an eye on it, I'll stir it from time to time. A few more little ingredients to go in. Okay, so as you can see, some oil just rising to the top. Definitely that's how I know. The sauce is done. The chicken definitely well cooked. Just going to give this a slight stir. Now what I'm going to do is roughly a teaspoon here of Kashmiri methi leaves or methi leaves. You can use fenugreek seeds, but those would need to go in at the beginning. They're a wee bit stronger than the leaves, so just rubbing those in between the palm of my hands just to give it that kind of nice umami type. Lovely smell. It's almost like curry. It's hard to describe methi leaves. They're not curry leaves, obviously. Here we are now with the food colouring. All food colouring is different. I have a Dr. Oetker. It's like a colour gel. So I'm just going to add drops of this in at a time. I'm going to turn this down to low ever so slightly while I do this. And as I add drops in, there's about 3 drops. I'm just going to stir that through. In with a few more drops of the red colouring. There are powders, there are gels, there are liquids. One of the brands that I see people use, it's TRS, it's a powder. Chicken Chasni is a red colour, and there's another couple of good droplets in. Yep, I think I might be getting there. Like one more tiny few drops of this, and that should be it. In actual fact, that is near, that tube finished, I think. Anyway, I'll put the lid on it very carefully. This gets on your clothes, or anything else for that matter, or your hands. It is going to be one hell of a job to get off. Okay. Yep, that looks red to me. And literally, I'm just going to add a tiny splash of water. Yep, I would say that's a pretty good red colour. So now I'm going to add in about 120 millilitres, 100 millilitres of cream. This is heavy cream, or double cream as we call it in Ireland and the UK. Really, you should get single cream. I don't have any. So yeah, I'll just give this a stir. So good stir before I put it in. That should be, yeah, it's probably about 100 mils. Give that a good stir through. As you can see, it's lightened up the colour a little bit, still red. I'm going to add some more of the food colouring again. This is a 15 ml tube of the brand that I'm using. And it's not going to do you any harm adding more in, to be honest. It is food colouring. I know you see articles on food colouring that it's not good for you. But really, ideally, I mean, that's if you're using bucket loads of it every single day. And it's something that I don't do for curries. I mean, you'll see most of my curries are kind of like a yellowy colour, which is the curry powders, or if they look a bit red, it's because of Kashmiri Chilli Powder or tomato. But most of them are kind of a yellowy, orangey colour. Oh, and I should say, you'll see when I cook curries, I don't garnish that much with coriander. The folks here at home, with the exception of myself, surprise, surprise again, aren't all that keen on raw coriander, uncooked coriander. Don't mind coriander powder, obviously, because you need that. So I have another little tube of the I get this right, I say Dr. Oetker food colouring. So I'm just going to add another squirt. So that's 15 mils I've already used. But here we are, one. I don't know how many mils this is. I'm going to say probably about another 4 to 5. And I'm not going to add any more in. This looks absolutely different for me. So this is a chicken chasni, and I'll call it a good old Scottish curry. I think, as I say, by Alex Wilkie, I think that's the gentleman's name. I think he's Glaswegian. I actually found a video of him making it, and this is more popular, certainly in Scotland, than Tikka Masala. I only have another wee taste of cream, I'm going to say about 20 mils, so we'll just add another small taste in. Making the last tube that I use and making sure I've got all the bits out of it before I take it over to the dispose of it. Well, there we are, probably about another mil or two. I've added in just another squeeze of the food colouring. Let's say Dr. Oetker is an expensive brand in general for anything in terms of its baking, cooking type products, so that's something I would use. I just added another wee taste of cream in. So I'm going to let this cook for another 5 minutes or so, and that should be it. Totally ready. So here we are, folks. This is my chicken chasni completely cooked. Really pleased with how this has turned out. When it's on the plate or ready to serve, garnish it with some spring onion. And if you like fresh coriander, they don't here, I do. You know, add a few sprinklings of it as well. And all being well, you will see it on the plate. Usually my darling little wifey takes those pics for me, but she has been up since 8 o'clock yesterday morning, and here we are on a Saturday evening, I'm going to say roughly in around about 6 o'clock. So she's been up almost 30 hours at the least now. Sorry, actually more, 36. So there we go. So hopefully, if not, I'll do it. If you do like this, please give me a thumbs up. Please do subscribe. Well, okay folks, here we are, my chicken chasni. I'm going to taste a bit of this. I've tasted it earlier. It's absolutely delicious. And all I can say is this will definitely be one that I will for sure cook again. Absolutely wonderful. My goodness, I would love to find an Indian restaurant in Northern Ireland that would do this, but they'll not do it as good as me. So I'm going to say goodbye. I'm hungry as always, so rock on. See you soon. Try this out and you will absolutely enjoy it.